Inspiration, clarity, confidence, and wholehearted business strategy. Welcome to Your Next Chapter, the podcast especially for women in their 40s and beyond who know that business and personal development go hand in hand. Tune in each week for marketing, mindset, and personal growth strategies, along with inspiring stories from women around the world who are creating new businesses and lives that are personally fulfilling and financially rewarding. If you're looking to create a business and life you love, you're in great company. Let's find out what will unfold in your next chapter. I'm your host, Angela Raspass, and I'm so delighted that you're here. Hi there, it's Angela, and thanks for coming and joining me for episode 11 in the Your Next Chapter podcast. It's funny, when I started this podcast, or rather the idea of it last year, I wasn't absolutely sure what I wanted to share. I just knew that I wanted to get out there and connect with women and be a little voice in your ear, perhaps, of possibility of what it is that you could create and put together in your own next chapter. And then some fantastic women appeared on the horizon, and I sought some of them out, whose experiences and perspectives were going to help you to create your next chapter. But I also wanted to, in between these episodes, just pop in myself occasionally and share with you some of the different things that I do in my own business and life that, you might find helpful as well. They're things that I've learned and have been taught to me as I've been on this continuous self-discovery journey, because I got to tell you, having your own business, being an entrepreneur, is one of the biggest personal development trips you will ever be on, that's for sure. Now, for myself, the whole side of personal development, it's a part of life, obviously, but really getting into reading books and going to events that focused on that side of things, not just the whole strategic marketing side, which I've been immersed in for so long. This has really had the biggest impact on my ability to show up and do the work in the world that I really believe I'm here to do. So there's just a few wee things that I wanted to share with you today that I hope you also find helpful when you're on this next chapter business adventure. So what I want to talk to you about briefly today is the concept of what I call the bookends of your day. Now, there's a lot of talk about all the things that we need to do on a day-to-day basis in our business, all that marketing and the sales and the websites and the copywriting and the networking and the client service and all those absolutely essential things. But just today, I want to pause and bring you back a little bit to what happens at the beginning of your day and at the end of your day. That's why I call them the bookends. Now, there is a couple of things I'll talk about in the middle of the day as well, which I've found helpful. But let's have a look at how you start your day. Now, a lot of us who are in our next chapters still have responsibilities for other people as well. I mean, my kids are almost 17 and just turned 13. But they're still here at home. They're still very much a part of my life. I have a husband, I have a household to run, all those things on top of doing my business. And if I allow myself to, I can start my day in a crazy rush every single morning. And I got to tell you, that is the way I used to start every day. I was the absolute classic of having my mobile phone plugged in beside my bed. Alarm goes off in the morning. First thing I was doing was rolling over and checking my emails. Yeah, I know it sounds a shocker, but I know I'm not alone, that a lot of people do that as well. But here's the thing, when you go straight from that, beautiful sleep into bang, brain blazing immediately and the to-do list starting to go crazy in your head immediately, that is not a great way to start your day. So it's taken me real intentional thinking to change that routine. And I got to tell you, I'm not perfect. There are some days when I'm still running for my mobile. But 8 out of 10 days these days, that was a bit of a mouthful, are very, very different. Now, what I'm talking about with a bookend, this beginning of your day, is making the conscious choice to start the day in such a way that will settle you and get you really present. Now, for me, the bookends that I choose, they do start with meditation. But I've often spoken about the fact that I have a popcorn brain. I am not yet able to simply sit in meditation. That doesn't work for me at this stage of my own development because my brain pops all over the place. So recognizing that, I'm not making myself wrong for that. I'm not putting pure meditation up on a higher scale compared to what I'm capable of right now. I'm simply responding to what I know works for me. And for me, that is guided meditations. There's a couple of different ones I do, and I'll make sure I put the links of where I found them in the show notes so you can find those on the page on my website under podcasts, under episode 11. So these guided meditations just get me into a place of calmness. I listen to a chakra one, sometimes a wonderful one by Krista Jane about starting your day. But the point is, it is the habit. My body and my mind have become accustomed to starting in this place of calmness. So I actually did indulge myself at Christmas time and got a meditation sort of cushiony mat and this little sort of pillow that I sit on to raise my butt up so it's easier to cross my legs. I've got a little statue that sits on a chest of drawers in my room, and I've got a gorgeous candle that I like to burn. So it's a bit of a routine, a ritual of how I'm starting my day. And I love that beginning. Now, fortunately, I've also trained my husband and my kids. They now know, it took some time, but they now know that this first time in the morning is my time. I absolutely need this to put myself into that space of dealing wonderfully with things that come up during the day. So my lovely husband makes a cup of tea for me whilst I'm meditating. And then once the meditation is over, I take some time for journaling. Now, this is literally free journaling, no more than about 5 or 10 minutes. This doesn't have to take a lot of time in the morning. It's the routine of taking care of yourself that we're talking about here, not the actual time that it takes. Now, that free journaling is based on the concept of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. She calls them the morning pages, and I don't always write pages. I average about 1 page, but it allows me to get the things that are top of mind out of my mind and onto the page. No judgment there. It's really interesting to look back sometimes and see the sort of things that keep coming up. Now, you've often, if you've been in my community for a while, you've probably heard of me talking about the inner critic and how I believe that those thoughts that actually come up into your head are the voice of the amygdala, that really old part of your brain which wants to keep you safe. That's your inner critic verbalizing what she's concerned about. But what I see in those morning pages, as well as all the good stuff that comes up, there's also the fears that are most common for me in whether or not my business will be successful, or if the latest thing that I'm creating is really going to be helpful. Whatever the case is, I see those fears recycle themselves, and that raised awareness of what comes up on a regular basis then allows me to address it. That awareness is so important. So those morning pages, when I'm sipping away on my tea, I'm now in a place where I can start my day with a lot more clarity. I like to set an intention for how I want my day to run, because I'm a huge believer that you can catch your thoughts. And those thoughts, as we all know, actually create the feelings. And those feelings that you have either create the action or the lack of action. It's a domino effect. So if you start noticing negativity, if you don't nip it in the bud, if you don't look at it and work out where it's coming from and perhaps write it out when you're in those morning pages, then that can cascade or have a domino effect on the rest of your day. But if you've taken that time to pause in the morning and see what's going on for you, you have a far higher chance of actually catching those thoughts and choosing consciously to move them in a new direction. If you can feel that your mood's a little low for whatever reason, you can create your own inspired self-compassion plan for when you're having a crap day. What are the things that you can do that will lift you up again? And if you're starting on a good note, fantastic. Just continue that throughout your day. So I'd really encourage you to have a think about, how could you start your day? What's the bookend at the beginning of your day that will set you off on the right foot? Now I use, as I said, meditation and journaling. There can be other things. Some people love to get up and exercise first thing in the morning. Some people sing in the shower. Whatever it is for you, but consciously and habitually doing a similar thing each morning to get you started will make a huge difference to the quality of your day. So let's move forward then, actually into that day itself. There is a resource that I'd love to share with you here for those of you who are in the entrepreneurial world. I use a thing called my weekly planning worksheet. And this weekly planner that I create on a Monday morning ensures that I plan rather than plunge into my week. It really helps me have a look at what are the things that are most important that I really want to address, that are going to contribute to the long-term achieving of of the goals that I've got set for my business. If I don't refer to that weekly planner each morning, then the noisiest thing on my desk will get my attention. So I'd love to give you a copy of this. If you simply go to angelaraspass.com/11, then you'll be able to, 11 download, my apologies. You'll be able to grab yourself a copy of that weekly planner. I approach it perhaps a little differently to some other time management and organizational tools. In there, I really like you having a good look at the big picture, connecting to the big why behind your business, and taking some time to celebrate what you did and achieved the week before. I'm a big believer in reverse gapping. We women can so often look at all the things we have yet to achieve, but we don't look back always and congratulate ourselves and use those achievements just from last week as the future fuel for this week. So that is a way that I guess you'd almost call it like a park bench of my day. So I've had my bookend at the beginning, and then I've moved into my simple planning so that I can keep myself focused and in flow. There's some other things that I do too, which are routines as well, that keep me in this buoyant space as much as possible. There's certain music that I always play when I'm first at my desk. And again, I'll find the link. I'm pretty sure I found this online, so I'll share that with you. Each week I buy myself flowers. They're always sitting in the corner of my desk because they just give me that lift. And I also purchased a selenite lamp. Yeah, I love it. It sits in the corner of my room, of my office, and it just gives me a good feeling whenever it's switched on. So again, what is it for you? What little things, what small routines can you bring into your day that will set your mood buoyant? Because, hey, we get challenges. I wish life was, sometimes I wish life was a little bit easier. There's definitely some challenges that are thrown at me at the moment. And the good thing is when you've got these anchors of self-care in place, they just allow you to be able to roll with the punches a little bit more if challenges do come your way. So let's now look to the evenings. Now, if you're anything like me, our evenings can be really busy with routines and with the kids and dinner and yada, 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 all of those things that come along. But towards the end of the evening, there's a couple of things that I have routinely brought in. And this evening bookend of my day has really transformed everything. Now, you've heard of gratitude, you've heard of the power of gratitude, but I want you to pause for a moment. There's a difference between understanding a concept than there is in actually implementing it. Now, a gratitude list is an incredibly simple bookend to bring into your life, but it has profound impact. I can say this from first-hand personal experience. I've been keeping a gratitude list for almost 10 years. Someone gave me that recommendation a long time ago when I first was getting in recovery. And it really has made an enormous difference to me. I used to have a really negative mindset that, bad stuff happened all the time. But what having a gratitude list has helped me to do is it helps my brain to filter for the good, to filter for the positive. Just writing down 5 simple things that I am grateful for today really have helped switch that brain around. And I can honestly say that my baseline is far more that of an optimist these days. There's a healthy dose of realism in there as well, but I love the optimistic perspective. So when I'm doing my gratitude list, I also then segue into self-observation. Take a bit of an inventory at the end of the day. I check in with myself. What went well? What am I proud of? And I acknowledge that. Again, that self-acknowledgement is future fuel. It helps build you up and see yourself as someone that can make things happen. Someone that is kind, compassionate, successful. Someone who can achieve their goals. Whatever it is for you, I want you to pause and acknowledge just what you've achieved today, because it's so easy just to flick it aside and focus on what's next. Then equally, I also do have a quick look at where could I improve. Now, it could have been in a conversation with one of my kids that I was a bit snappy or I didn't quite give them the attention that they needed. Or it could be something to do with my business. It really doesn't matter. It's very personal. But it's just having a bit of a look and making sure that it's balanced. It's almost like a trilogy here. It's gratitude and it's inventory for what I've done well and inventory for what I could improve. That makes me feel very balanced. And yeah, there is a cup of tea and I've got a salt lamp burning whilst I do all this. Little extra pieces that just help anchor in that evening bookend. And they make a big, big difference for me. And then, blessed sleep. I got to tell you, I don't get enough of that. I'm a voracious reader, and I typically turn to do some reading once I finish my lists. But I find it hard sometimes to turn out the light, but I know how important it is. Sleep is so darn important for us. So that is something that I am aiming for this year, to tear myself away and to give myself some more sleep. So those are my bookends of the day, and I would love you to pause and to work out, what is it that you are going to introduce into your day? That beginning anchor, that end anchor, those things that keep you buoyant and just adjust for you, rather than plunging into your day from the second that your eyes open. Now, I know sometimes when you're looking at this, it's like, where am I going to find the time? How am I going to squeeze that in? This is for you, my darling. This is your time. You don't have to put in an hour in the morning and an hour at night. Just start with a few minutes and then increase as you find those anchors and those bookends that work best for you. On top of this, I do want you to think longer term of what is it that nourishes you, outside of these bookends of the day, and that idea of planning rather than plunging when you go sit down at your desk. For me, I love nothing better than a good bookstore. I could disappear into one for hours. And also, I regularly go to a naturopath. That's really helped me get far calmer in the last 12 months. I think she's fabulous, and I'll put those details into the show notes as well, just in case you're a Sydney-sider like me. And the final piece really is getting out into nature. That I grew up on a farm in New Zealand, and I've only really started to recognize in the last couple of years how vital it is for my soul and my psyche to get out of the city and into space. I really thought it was actually the ocean that was the thing for me, but I've realized that as much as I love looking at the ocean, for me, my calmest place is when I'm out in the country. So what is it for you? If you just paused and really thought for a moment, what is it that soothes your soul in this very hectic life that we live? And then try and have a little more of that in your everyday. So that's my concept of the bookends of your day, and I think they are really vital. Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, we all need the space and the ability to anchor ourselves so that we can approach each and every day with this feeling of buoyancy and of readiness. And bringing in those bookends of the day is the best way that I know that you can achieve that. So I'd love to know, what is it that you'll be doing? I'd love to hear some suggestions on things that calm your spirit and set you up for a great day and allow you to reflect at the end of the day to send you off into sleep and happiness. I'm a huge believer in giving examples, in leading with inspiration, and you can do that for us. You can share with us what works for you, and you may just find yourself inspiring another person. So I'd love you to pop some comments down on the page, on the podcast page on my website. Again, you'll find that at angelaraspass.com, and just click on podcasts. When you come to episode 11, you'll find plenty of space to leave a comment down below. And of course, just the last wee reminder, there is that resource that is great to help you plan rather than plunge when you're in the midst of your day that has been so beautifully bookmarked at either end. So you just go to angelaraspass.com/11 download, and the weekly planning worksheet will be there just for you. I hope you find it really useful. And thanks again for spending your time with me today listening into this episode. I hope it's been of value to you, and I look forward to catching you up on the next one. This is Angela Raspass. Have a lovely day. Thanks for listening to the Your Next Chapter podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please let me know. Pop over to angelaraspass.com to subscribe to the show and leave a review. And whilst you're there, you can also enjoy valuable free resources, including show notes and downloads, along with the Next Chapter community, where you can connect with other wholehearted women on the same journey as you. We'd love to welcome and support you as your next chapter unfolds. See you next time.